Good day to each and everyone. I'm lovely Roan Ariola and I'm currently completing my Master of Arts in Nursing. And today I will be presenting to you my thesis entitled Quality of Life, Personal Health and Safety among Elderlies in Pangasinan. For the background of the study, one life event that is thought to be life-changing is the aging process. The main focus of this study is on quality of life, personal health, and safety of elderly people in Pangasinan. And two stages out of many play and thereby significant role in person's existence. Childhood is the initial stage, and old age, often known as the aging process, requires a lot of care and modification. Consequently, it is a very important time in a person's life. For the quality of life is particularly crucial for older individuals because it is intimately linked to enjoyment and achieved life goals, according to Chang, Chorong, Heying, and Hanju to 2021. And also, according to WHO, quality of life among elderlies are also affected by ageism or the discrimination on the grounds of person's age, has a negative impact on people's health and well-being on a wide range of aspects. And for personal health of elderlies can be a concern about the health of senior family members or loved ones. Healthy behavioral adjustments can support older persons in maintaining greater independence as they age. And also, older persons experience a variety of possible threats at home, some which have the potential to cause fatalities or serious injuries. Checking the safety plan for your elderly loved one is crucial because as people age, various safety risks may arise. The most prevalent phobia among senior people is the fear of falling, which is characterized by a lack of confidence brought on by fear of falling while performing daily tasks to the point that normal tasks cannot be completed without falling. And for the objective of the study's main objective was to determine the quality of life of the elderly in Pangasinan in terms of health, social integration, leisure activity, functional activity, and environmental functionality. And we go to the statement of the problem. This study aims to determine the quality of life of elderly people in Pangasinan. Specifically, it sought to answer the following questions. Number 1, problem. What is the demographic profile of the respondents in terms of age, marital status, economic status, and living conditions? For the second problem, what is the level of quality of life of elderly in Pangasinan in terms of health, social integration, leisure activity, functional activity, and environmental functionality? And for the third problem, what is the significant differences between the quality of life and the profile of the respondents in terms of age, marital status, economic status, living conditions? And for the fourth problem, what educational information campaign material can be provided to increase the elderly's quality of life? And we proceed to chapter 2. And for research design, this study used a quantitative, descriptive, correlational research design. A quantitative, descriptive, correlational research design is used to observe, describe, and document aspects of situation or variables as they occur naturally between and among them. A descriptive correlational research design was appropriate in this study since it looked into the descriptive meaning of the quality of life among elderly people in Pangasinan and significant relationships between the profile of and level of their quality of life in terms of health, social integration, leisure activity, functional activity, and environmental functionality. And for the population and locale of the study, the research study was conducted in 10 selected municipalities of the province of Pangasinan. The 10 municipalities, mainly Alcala, Binalonan, Lawak, Manawag, Sison, Mangaldan, Bayambang, San Jacinto, Asingan, and Santa Maria, has the biggest number of elderlies. The research study was conducted in 10 selected municipalities of the province of Pangasinan. Based on the data census, as of the year 2023, the province has a total number of 274,084 elderly, excluding Dagupan City, where 112,613, or the 41%, are males, and 161,471, or 59%, are females, according to Provincial Planning and Development Office 2023. To select the respondents highly representative of the population being subjected to the study, Qualtrics research sample size calculator was used to determine the sample size population. In total, the research population was 384, or 192 females and 192 males, with a confidence level of 95% and a margin error of 5%. For the selection of the respondents was considered based on the following inclusion criteria set by the researcher. Inclusion criteria for the respondents were the following. First, elderly population above 65 years old living in the geographic area of the study. Second, with mild to moderate hearing problem. Third, currently residing in Pangasinan for a minimum of 6 months. And fourth, plans to stay in the geographic area during the study duration. Fifth, were able to answer the questionnaire in Tagalog or English. And six, elderlies requires minimal assistance in daily living. And meanwhile, the exclusion criteria for the respondents are the following. Number 1, hospitalized elderly. Second, those with severe visual and hearing impairment and couldn't communicate. Third, elderlies with psychiatric problems and cannot understand or answer the questionnaire. Fourth, elderlies with dementia. Fifth, bedridden elderlies and with severe illnesses. Sixth is elderly who are not willing to participate. And for the data gathering tool, a self-formulated questionnaire was used in the study to determine the quality of life of elderlies in Pangasinan. The questionnaire was made based on the Older People's Quality of Life questionnaire developed by Anne Bowling of University College London and the Omnibus Health Guidelines for the Elderly formulated by the Department of Health. To ensure the effective communication and understanding between the researcher and the respondents, the data gathering tool was translated into the Filipino language with the help of professional teacher majoring in the Filipino language. And for data gathering procedure, in obtaining the consent to conduct the study, the researcher coordinated with the Dean College of Nursing for the approval and endorsement to proceed with the data gathering. Afterward, the researcher let the protocol be reviewed by the research technical panel of the department for their comments and suggestions. After this, the research proposal was forwarded to the Lorma College's Research Ethics Committee for further evaluation. Once the written endorsement and approval were secured, a request letter was sent to the local government and respective barangay officers of the selected municipalities to seek permission to conduct the study. Upon the approval of local government and barangay officers, the researcher personally visited the respondents to float the questionnaire and, if required, enlisted the assistance of the respondents' relatives. The researcher strictly followed the observed health and safety protocols during the data gathering. In addition, the researcher also utilized the principles of ethical considerations developed by Bryman and Bell 2007. And for ethical considerations, an informed consent was given to the chosen respondents for approval to participate. Ethical considerations were taken into action. The respondents were ensured that their identities remained anonymous and confidential through codes or initial letters. No personally identifying information was collected, such as full name, address, phone numbers, birthday, and ID numbers. The researcher also assessed only relevant components for the study. The researcher ensured that specific and non-misleading questions were asked during the data collection, and the questionnaires were not biased, simple, and only relevant to the research purpose. For the treatment of data, the data gathered was tallied, tabulated, and treated using the following statistical tools. Frequency and percentage were utilized in analyzing the demographic profile of the respondents, and for weighted mean using a 5-point Likert scale was used to determine the respondents' level of quality of life in terms of health, social integration, leisure activity, functional activity, and environmental function. With Likert scale of 1 strongly agree, 2 agree, 3 disagree, 4 strongly agree, 5 undecided. And the following scales is reflected as follows. For point value of 5 with a statistical range of 4.20 to 5 with the descriptive interpretation of undecided. For point value of 4 with a statistical range of 3.40 to 4.19 with the descriptive interpretation of strongly disagree. For point value of 3 with the statistical range of 2.60 to 3.39 with the descriptive interpretation of disagree, and for point value of 2 with a statistical range of 1.80 to 2.59 with a descriptive interpretation of agree, and for point value of 1 with a statistical range of 1 to 1.79 with a descriptive interpretation of strongly agree. And for the findings of the study, the overall findings of the study and their conclusions primarily drawn from the results. And the findings of the study are as follows. For problem number 1, most respondents aged 60 to 65 married, belong to a middle income class, and live with extended family. And for number 2, the level of quality of life of the elderly in terms of health, social integration, leisure activity, functional activity, and environmental functionality is good on average. Environmental functionality and health aspects as resulted in having a highest quality of life. And meanwhile, leisure activity and functional activity have the lowest quality of life. And for number 3, there is no significant relationship between the quality of life and the profile of respondents in terms of age, marital status, and economic status. However, there is a significant relationship between the quality of life and the profile of respondents in terms of living conditions. And for number 4, educational information campaign material has been proposed to increase the quality of life of elderlies. And for the conclusion of the study, based on the findings, the following conclusions were drawn. First, elderlies aged 60 to 65 married, belong to the middle income class, and with extended family in Pangasinan selected municipalities have a higher quality of life. Second, respondents' engagement in the practices in each area of quality of life is good. However, their engagement in leisure activity and function needs to be improved, decreasing their quality of life. Third, respondents' age, marital status, and economic status do not influence their quality of life. Therefore, regardless of age, marital status, and economic status, elderly in Pangasinan are at risk for low quality of life. However, in terms of living conditions, level of quality of life may differ. Fourth, the result of the study is relevant as it provides a greater understanding what areas of quality of life need to be maintained and increased so all elderlies achieve their goal of having quality of life. For the recommendations, the following are the recommendations of the study. First, disseminate the educational information campaign material made by the researcher, especially by the local government units with the aid of the health institutions, senior citizens associations, and barangay health workers in the community. Second, provide a copy of the educational information campaign material to be given by the health practitioners to the elderlies who have their weekly checkups that will support the elderly's ability to engage in the practices that fit within their own life patterns and prepare them to make effective health decisions day to day. Third, distribute the educational information campaign material to the elderly who perceive an inadequate quality of life to motivate and enhance their well-being. Fourth, conduct interactional activities and programs coordinated with the local government unit, municipality office, and senior citizen association every week in order to increase the quality of life of the elderly. Fifth, collaborate with the Department of Health to include the practices in their seminars or activities or create a program intended to improve the quality of life of the elderly. Six, future researchers should conduct greater studies on the level of quality of life of the elderly. Thus, the findings from this study may be used as a theoretical foundation and source of support for future research. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you everyone for listening.